minutes to master, tools to explore. Let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCawley, where your digital dreams come true.
One lounge.
Today's episode of AI Tool Time is going to be about moonshots. These are projects I've been working on for the last 10 years. This project actually was started in my UX UI class where we code an app. So we go through the process of designing the entire app. We go from mission to persona groups, and we study, and then we execute an app. It used to be Adobe XD. We're now using, actually, we're going to start using Figma. We've been using Figma the last 2 semesters, but we're going to be using Figma out of ChatGPT, and hopefully Google will have a direct API connection so we can vibe code our way here. But here's the mission. So every time I start with this concept, and the idea is Steve Jobs talked about the crazy ones, the Martin Luther Kings, the Mahatma Gandhis, the Rosa Parks, the people who changed the world, as he called them the crazy ones, who don't know they can't change the world. Those are the ones who do. This is my comment to my students as I give them a moonshot, something so impossible to solve, a real problem that they have. About 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we had 4,000 people in downtown Fort Lauderdale, right next to the library. The library was the place that homeless people could go because it's free to the public, couldn't kick them out. Well, they had a 4,000 person encampment. It surrounded our school, and it caused some violent actions to happen, including a 94-year-old man who was arrested for feeding the homeless because he was encouraging it, because the mayor said, that's where our tourists go. Can you imagine? They come here and they see encamped people, and they just don't want to come downtown. And it was kind of problematic. So they put them on buses. They shipped them around. We made international news. The 94-year-old guy was like a monk. He was a saint of the community. He fed them every day with food and money that he put together with his friends. And they all did this, right? And I said, solve that problem. They come up with 2 solutions. And one is a food truck that during the day feeds, you can buy food for one or food for all. It was called, I wanted to call it Robin Hood, but it was called Fryer Truck. So it was a truck and a fryer would be operating it. And he would offer you a sandwich for $5, or you could buy food for all. You'd pay $10, and that evening it would go to where the homeless are staying safely and with medical attention, etc., and feed them for free. So it was a way to give back and to move out of downtown. That's the kind of minds that my students, who are typically in their 20s and 30s sometimes, occasionally I get a 60 or 70-year-old too, that are getting their 2-year degree in graphic design. I always give them a moonshot that they can't think. So about a few years ago, Venezuela, at the height of all the troubles they had, I had 13 students that were fresh off the boat from Venezuela that were working on citizenship and were here because there was violence going on in their own country. And they were distraught. They were having to send back penicillin and other medications that they could not get in Venezuela as the dictator took over and there was violence and overthrow because he got greedy with all the oil. And of course, we're seeing that happening right now. You know why they're firing on those drug interdictions? Because we want their oil. That's really what's going on. But anyway, so I said, solve that problem. You want to be a citizen, and some of them had become citizens because of the thing at the time was, if you were coming from a war-torn country, we would give you home and shelter, right? Bring us your tired, your poor, yearning to breathe free. So I, in the 80s, photographed this TV show in Miami. All the Cubans came in. I photographed the Mariel boat lift, so I have a history of this, of dealing with immigrants and people who didn't speak English. My best friend and at my wedding, Al Diaz, still works for the Miami Herald. He went to school. His parents, till their dying day, didn't even know English. So I'd go over to the house and we communicated in a different way. She was my mother and he was my father, and absolutely beautiful people. But there was a show called Hello, Que Pasa USA is what it was called. And it was a comedy that was bilingual. I learned Spanish by watching it. So I came up with the title, which is Hello USA. It's a mission to invite application for newly arrived immigrants to be partnered up with people who successfully navigated the process. to be their mentors, to be their aides, to give them shelter in the times, to support them, and to maybe make it a possibility that we can guide people, good people that come from countries where they had to escape oppression. That Statue of Liberty stands for something. So this is the logo, not done with AI, by the way, hand drawn in Illustrator by one of my students. So the mission is an app that will take care of these things. What are the problems? Of course, you can pick your language when you sign up for it. It's totally free. And you could download it in any country on the planet. But they needed help with legal, education. How do you find a place to put your kids? So you first match up, just like a match game, right? You've got 5 kids, you speak Spanish, you come from El Salvador. If we could match you with someone in the same place in Miami, for example, from El Salvador, we're going to match it so that you have the same issues that they've already navigated. They probably took 2 or 3 years to get through the process. And you get the benefit of that mentorship and that safe space to be while you go through the legal process, which is horribly broken, irrefutably broken. And then you learn civics tests. You learn English within here. You learn how to get a job. You go to community centers where you cook the food from your native country and you share with other people as a family table, a community built on the backs of the beautiful food and people that come from these cultures so desperately to seek the freedoms of our country. You learn English, you go to school, you learn civics lessons, all within inside our app. But of course, with AI, can you imagine? It's a 24/7, always available question. What do I do? How do I get there? How do I park my car? Where do I go? Right? So legal help, ID cards, requirements, tests, offices, a tax information, citizenship process, legal help finder. So people that will give it to you for free, and even some basic stuff right here. Tax preparation. Holy cow, there's so many things to do. Job searches, hospitality, arts. Like I'm looking for, and here's my specialty, job training. How do I go to Broward College and get a free education? Yes, if you're homeless or if you're trying to be a citizen, there are ways that we can help you at every community college across the United States. Imagine there's an app with an AI built to make this happen. So, Brandon, this is the one that I want to have happen first. It means a lot to me as my roommate is trying to navigate her boyfriend in Atlanta, and he's been almost arrested, accosted for hours and hours and days, even trying to go down to Costa Rica to visit his dying mother. He's tried to get citizenship. His daughter, who he brought to the country from Costa Rica, has full citizenship, and he can't catch a break. He's being stopped by police officers who thinks he's Mexican and he doesn't have his green card. He has to carry his birth certificate 24/7 and all of his papers as if he's at some Nazi checkpoint. He's in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's afraid to get on airplanes because he could be deported any minute by ICE agents. And he is a hardworking man working 3 jobs and being kept almost as a slave by the people. I don't want to out anyway, but anyway, he's a beautiful man, and I just know he needs to be a citizen. He would be such a benefit, and that's what this app promises to do. I've already talked to a couple of people from the Hispanic Heritage Foundation in the state of Florida, and there's a nationwide one that are going to try to make this app real. And it's for everybody. It's for Haitians. It's for people from Guatemala, and it's people from Ukraine. Wherever you're from, you're welcome here. The second app is called Rescue Connect. Rescue Connect is a 3-part for any kind of disaster that you have. It's a before the event happens. During the event, it's an aggregation of all information gathering to privilege you at the center of knowledge. Before, it's a preparation engine. It gets the supply chain management. So if you need stuff from Home Depot, you need stuff from Lowe's, you need Uber, you need to get some volunteers to put boards on your grandmother's house, you need to find UPS, and everybody basically pitches in to pick up all your stuff. And Uber comes around and picks up batteries at one place and picks up your food at another, picks up your canned vegetables and your water bottles and all your stuff. You upload all your stuff to the cloud. So basically, and here is this is the animation that I did in Crea So I did each one of the separate ones simultaneously in one prompt and then animated the whole thing. So I want FEMA to sponsor it. I happened to go to FEMA in Miami when they had their big event and asked them to actually do this app for us and be just an amazing thing. So one of the cool things about it is before, during, and after, we've got solutions for you. This is what the app looks like. And then we'll take a look at.
Soy Rescate Randy. Estoy aquí para ayudarte a mantener la calma, estar seguro y conectado. Ya sea lluvia, viento o un poco de caos, estoy contigo. ¿Necesitas?
So that's built in. So this started with the picture you see in the top left. We just thought, hey, we'll have a little chat bot in here that you can text back and forth. Okay. Well, what if you speak a different language or whatever, right? So voice. So I went into ChatGPT at the time and I said, give me a blue man because I don't want it to be, specifically one heritage or another, a yellow hat. And we ended up giving it a red cross. So it would be the red cross. Hi, I'm Rescue Randy. A storm is heading your way. Let's check your safety check. And
Hi
then
there. I'm Rescue Randy. I'm here to help you stay calm, safe, and connected. Whether it's rain, wind, or just a little chaos out there, I've got your back. Need a hand with supplies, updates?
So we use Hedra to do the lip sync and voiceover. We had the transparency. So we had this image just to the face, and he's got a little microphone there. And there's the red cross one, so the final version. We had it transparent. We put it in Hedra to get the motion right. Then we added a background afterwards with a transparent background with the video, knocking that out. And then this is what it does. So no matter what kind of event you have, whether it's flooding, whether it's, we activate supply chain management for everything that you do. So here's the beginning. We prep you. That's a year before and 1 month before and the week of that event, whether it's a fire in California or it's a hurricane in the east or it's flooding in the Midwest. We created 3 groups of people in the West Coast. There's tsunami warnings, there's mudslides, there's how do you get your pets there? Here's a supply list that's inside the app in the top right. This is what you need to have and check off. So the month before, you should have already done this. You should know what shelter you're going to. And by the matter of fact, working for the Miami Herald, we got the law changed. This is what we won the Pulitzer Prize for, our public service after the Hurricane Andrew happened. We got the tie-dines passed through legislature. We got it so that every 36 states in the union allow you to bring up to 5 pets. You have to come with all their papers and all their shots. You have to have a carrier for them, enough food and supplies, but you can check in and you can pre-register any shelter near you, whether it's a fire you're evacuating from or a tornado, flooding, whatever it is, you can bring your pets with you. And then afterwards, and then we have a emergency disaster kit. We suggest, as you can now, actually use satellite phones. So the supply chain before includes this idea. What if you could order from all of these companies and then have it delivered by your choice? And it would supply chain manage the workflow. So if Publix ran out of water, but Home Depot has a bunch, or wood's not coming in from Home Depot, so you need it from Lowe's, and then you have Postmates and Uber and UPS and the U.S. Postal Service the week before. If you need to check out, you do it inside the app. And then here's a brilliant idea that our students came up while they're doing it. One of the big things is you get in a line to get gas before because it may not have service to pump at the pump afterwards. So you get these backed up lines and traffic all over the place. What if it's just large trucks delivering large things to people and there's a truck that goes around? You just leave your car gas tank unlocked and they'll pump you full of gas and then you're ready to go. And just you check it all out inside the app. So prep and then coordinate before the supply chain, and then use a satellite phone to get all the information. So what do you call it? T-Mobile has a satellite phone for $10 a month. The one you're seeing up in the top right is going to be a walkie-talkie system that's going to be activated by T-Mobile and other organizations, maybe Elon Musk's satellite system, only in emergency systems. Will be activated for doing texting back and forth. This won't be full phone calls, but all you need is to be able to, now imagine it's already preset with all your numbers beforehand for your Allstate, for whatever you're doing. So your house is a disaster, you get on your phone, and then you have Allstate come pick you up. So there you are during it. So all the news gets aggregated, the radio stations, the TV stations, and then your next door neighbor during the next door app tells you and coordinates with the weather service. There's a tornado at this coordinates. It's headed northeast. You happen to be northeast. You get a weather alert that that tornado out of the hurricane is going to hit you near. Tells you to go to shelter, puts out an alarm. You have access to everybody in communications, so you can at least text back and forth to your friends and family. And a whole area will be completely with service. So all you got to do is get a solar panel. Yes, they work even if it's raining outside. You could just put it under a solar panel light, or you can do like I do. And I have 6-foot solar panels, and then I've got a brick that can run my refrigerator and run all my appliances in my house, even my washer and dryer for a momentary thing. And it's a battery powered thing that runs off of solar. So I put my solar panels out and I use it as a battery backup in my home right now. These would be part of the system. And so there was a story that I went and covered. The woman's name was Sarah. She was 83 years old. She had picked a shelter and gone with her son, who was from Boston, and he was on the phone with her, and she was being asked to evacuate by the authorities, forced to. And she said, no, I won't go because they won't take my cat. So she went to the shelter. They refused to take the cat. She went back home and died. And I had to do a follow-up story about it. It haunts me ever since. So that law got changed because of what we did. But imagine that you have a whole routine so specific that they pick you up on an Uber. And if your grandmother has Alzheimer's, that person knows your name. You see the picture of the Uber driver, and you're on the phone with your son in Boston as you comfortably get into a van that's equipped for you and takes you to the correct shelter, where a nurse picks you up and then gets your cat and has your insulin and has all your medications there waiting for you. Imagine what that's like. And this is the app that we created. Imagine that it aggregates all the news in one area, and it knows where you are, and then it pulls up just the news you need to know at the time. Citizen Reports, the Nextdoor app, will then work with you to do this. Combine all news organization feeds into your news. Let's privilege the people in the path of destruction, and let's make it so that we prep, we connect, we have access to all our friends and family, and we know who they are, what alerts that are there, and then afterwards, the rebuilding. So you already know. So we already have Allstate does satellite pictures of your home in a fire, and it takes that satellite to assess the damage. Imagine that contractors are already staged on the border to go in there and like getting a pizza delivered. Can you imagine this? Your home timeline, which might take 6 months to be fully reconstructed, is paid for. They pick you up and your dog and take you to a long-term stay hotel, and then you get updates every single day. Your insurance is paying for you to have money in the bank, and then you're using your phone app to pay for everything, and it's prepaid because you might not be able to have access. But you already got a hotel because they supply chain managed the number of people under Allstate into the plan, and they already have all of these things going. So at Rescue, at the Convention Center Disaster Expo that they're going to have again in February, I'm going to go and I'm going to get to present to FEMA this idea. Imagine if they gifted this to every human being in America or around the world for every disaster. This is the solution that's based on people's solutions, not on corporations. When I went to the expo, I was devastated that everything there was to sell, was to make money for those companies that made toilets, etc. Now, they're certainly serving the people, but there hasn't been an app like this. Why the hell not? FEMA, I want you to step up and make this for real. A Lovable, if you want to sponsor this, it'll be the greatest gift to all humanity. Please do that. Let us vibe code it this weekend. Okay. Oh, boy. I'm going to take a minute. You can tell this is so vital to me. And
Rick, I gotta just say I love your brain. Like the energy is incredible, and the intention is in such a pure place. Coming from the idea of helping people and trying to make the world a better place using your superpowers.
Yeah, and I couldn't do 90% of this without artificial intelligence helping me. I mean, certainly I could take a photograph of a disc and then reformat it and put Life Force on there and trademark it. But I couldn't even go through the process. is this possible to create an Alexa device that has an AI on the device? 8 terabytes is what I calculated for one person, but you could have a 16 terabyte, loaded up with everything, secured so only you have access, and you have a PIN number or a fingerprint identification, optical recognition to unlock it. So imagine that you have a device that has everything about all your medical history. It also has aggregated. Let's take a look at this. So my idea is, what if you're the center of all your healthcare? What if you're sitting around your entire family's information, holistic wellness, sleep tracking, all the devices? You are the only thing that it got wrong is that iPad's being held backwards, but that's kind of cool too, right? So old medical records, all your medical records, everything you do, all of your devices, your Aura Ring, your Apple phone, your Fitbit, your whatever you've got going on, your new My Fitness Pal. Imagine that it is the center of your health universe, and you're wearing a pendant that communicates with it and then tracks your sleeping at night, or an Aura Ring could track that. Whatever device you have, it's the center of your universe for longevity and health. It's an intelligent hub with all your data private and on your command, talking to it like you do Alexa and the G device, which I can't say because I've got one in my house. So I went to a go-to-market. So I did the whole thing. LifeForce, secure operating system for your family's longevity. Your health in your hands. Stay there. Meet your digital twin. While you sleep, we watch proactive family health powered by AI, 100% private. Don't just survive. No. Personal health intelligence hub, independence and secured. So where does this come from? And this is the Google Notebook LM for strategy. So I did this for a class I taught last night in business. How do you bring a product to market? And so this is where it started. I was in the hospital, emergency room, 4 o'clock in the morning. My sugars hit 497, unheard of. And I had a problem. I was about to die. He said if I had waited any longer. Now, what happened that wasn't good is he put a bunch of water in me, saline basically. And then I left as soon as my sugar got down to 167. That's the release me from emergency care. No instructions, no nothing. So I said, I'm going to ask my AI everything about me. And I'm going to go find it. And what I started with is all the medications, taken 9 medications, been under treatment for type 2 diabetes for over 10 years, actually 11 years now. And it was my wake-up call for my health. I had 1 or 2 other events like this, one for dehydration after a very bad cold that was exacerbated because I didn't know you had to take salt with your water. I drank nothing but water instead of Gatorade or Pedialyte, which is a better solution. So I took all the chaos of all my fragmented medical records and then all the apps that I have that don't communicate and don't privilege me. They're just disconnected. So let's put that all together. So I photographed, here's all, and this is my stuff. Don't look at the numbers. Sorry, I didn't block out everything out. Here's all the supplements I was taking. It ends up, some of them I don't need to take because they go over on top of others. I took this information, I just photographed, that's all I did. And then it put it together into this list that I handed to my doctor. Holy crap. This is everything I'm taking. Yeah, the Cialis. Okay, whatever. And I'm not taking a couple of these drugs, which I ended up taking out of there. And then my supplements. And then I had it take a look. So then I said, what are my problems that I got right now? So I had bloating and detention. So it turns out what had happened is I was on Mounjaro, and it's for type 2 diabetics, and it also causes weight loss. Well, for 3 months, because people on weight loss without diabetes were getting this medication, and there was no supply available for 3 months. So I had ramped up slowly over a few years since Mounjaro first came out, if you're familiar with it. And I got to a point where I was at 12.5, which is the max dose. I lost 65 pounds. I never felt better, but I had constipation followed by diarrhea. So this GI problem, basically, because it causes you to not evacuate your bowels as well, and then you're taking medication that you urinate constantly. So I had this dried up, fecal matter, let's just be impolite about it. And then it created a cloud of methane and a cloud of ammonia gases that went to my brain and shut down my body's functionality. and then made me get completely dizzy. Thank God my roommate was living with me and was keeping an eye on me, insisted I go because I would be dead today if not for that. So I decided in my recovery process, I learned about everything about myself. Here is my private analysis after over 100 hours of talking to it. As I, drinking water, since I had that problem before, I learned about that. Biotin's good, but results may vary. Consider adding zinc, hair loss and anxiety and energy. So this is a whole thing. So then I went and got my chemistry and I just photographed it. And I said, ChatGPT, tell me about this. And this is what it told me. Actually, I don't have that slide in here, but it analyzed everything in human terms. And then I photographed every one of my papers. And then here's the chart. My A1C, which is the big thing, I think it was higher than usual. They usually have a little thing on marker on here. So if it's high, it's got an H next to it. So ALT, A1C is had gone up, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I've looked at all of them. Then I started thinking about, well, what can I do about it? What do I do for my health analysis? And then what do I do over with my food every day? So then I went through, and then I started thinking about how do I prompt for my own health, created a dietary thing. And I've redone this since. This is about 2 years ago, a year ago, almost. And then I had a fitness thing. So I started doing that, of course, not as well as I should. The biggest problem with health is you don't usually take care of yourself. So based on your digital twin, which include your DNA, so I've got that done. If I load that, I'm going to go to Colombia. I would have gone to Turkey. It wasn't so expensive, but I'm getting a complete health scan, MRI, CAT scans, x-rays, dental work, everything. I'm going to load it into this device and make a digital twin of myself that I can have AI take a look at it. And as streaming information goes into it, my weight, my sugar levels, I'm going to have a glucosometer that sticks in your as a patch on your shoulder, 24/7 glucose renderings. So I'll know exactly where I am and what I'm going to do. Here's the process that I am working through right now. This is my marketing and engineering background. There's the color palette ideation. There's a pendant, and then there's a device. And how big is the device and how would it work? The go-to-market. So I've gone through the entire thing. Here's my 3 different types of persona groups. Managing the family. The chief is the family. So you are the owner of your private data. The silver ager is older people that have fall detection built into their devices and that kind of thing. All the fallen, I can't get up kind of thing. And then the partner, the clinician that's going to work with you. You're going to have a delivery like I did to my doctor saying exactly what's wrong. And then based upon the evidence that you'll have information that they can use when they do your new blood work, they can see where your trajectory is going. In fact, if you allow them, since they are your doctor of record, they can know that beforehand. You just go get your blood work and then you'll get a report, and perhaps you do a telemedicine, cutting down the cost and the delivery of efficacious evidence based on you. You're the center of your health and your world. So there's the design. This is all done with Nana Banana. Oh my goodness. It even suggested these color palette and the metallic and all that kind of stuff. I happen to like the blue for health. I like the matte silver, and I like the high key, sort of Apple product like. There could be a VisionWare, a pendant, and a Life Force hub. The pendant could do everything from notifications of emergencies to talking to it on a daily basis, or recording your snoring at night, as could any of your devices you have. It could be used for other things, obviously, because you're in a whole ecosystem, and then that's what it would look like on your phone. And then imagine a world is the name of my company. Imagine a World Production and Imagine a World Foundation. The LLC Imagine a World Production is my creating all these products. It's my moonshots. It's also the place where all of my music and all of my books and everything that I'm doing is made possible. It's the way that I'm able to pay people to work with me, and I have tons of money ready to go do it. My Imagine a World Foundation is a nonprofit organization in which these moonshots will be executed. So to sort of paraphrase John Kennedy, ask not what AI can do for you, but what we can do with AI. That's what I talk about with these moonshots. And the last moonshot I'm going to share with you is something I'm working on, and I've already executed in 4 major cities: Coconut Creek, Coral Springs, Fort Lauderdale, getting ready to do Miami as well. This is just a recent directive. So I've created a GPT. Who is at risk for losing their jobs? On the left is high level, essential human things, high touch, untouchable, surgeons, athletes, musicians. Why are they safe? So I've created a GPT that you put in what you do and exactly what your threat level is. It makes an assessment of what your skill set is. Just for example, flight attendants are already starting to be replaced in China as the food service is being done by robotics, which is actually great. I've talked to my roommate. She hates that part of it. I mean, it's, you got to put up with really horrible people, but you can go to Burger King and push your button in there and get whatever flavor soda you need. So that's something that should be done by AI. But she reminded me that they're there to evacuate the plane. In case of emergency, she saved at least 5 people's lives in her life as a flight attendant. So registered nurse, teachers, they're going to be augmented. So that level 3 are the good ones. Now the level 5 and 4, well, I've got a whole plan. So Upskill USA serves 2 bodies of people. The companies where I ask them to sign a pledge. Don't fire anybody until you send them through our employee upskilling program. We assess what your vulnerability is using a GPT you could do online. Then once you get it, you'll get a what is my golden parachute test. So basically, it finds out what you're good at. Flight attendant is social and emotional intelligence. That is a high human essence skill set, level 1. So it would then look at all the jobs available in the United States and then find the perfect jobs in your area, unless you want to commute or move to another location. So you can submit automatically through our system of doing this. So already we're looking at the numbers have increased. In fact, this is since 2022. It went from 30% by 2025. That means this year we've already lost 30% of coders and many people, data entry clerks, manufacturing workers, robotics and technicians taking over, customer service, retail workers, your Uber drivers. They're all right now starting to go away. We will have unemployment astronomical by mid next year. That's what the World Economic Forum in Davos predicted. In 2 years ago, they said it would be 2030. And already it's tripled that amount. And the speed at which this is going is astronomical. So this is what we did already. Coconut Creek, Coral Springs, we got together at City Hall with the Chamber of Commerce, and we had panel discussions. We did it over 4 days. I've got it down to, after having done it a few times, my friend Laura Mathrick, who's a PhD student at FAU in education, and she's the poet laureate for Coconut Creek, got us in there to do it. We met with, to the right is the deans of the different departments. We've got Department of Nursing, the blonde on the right, McCafferty, the gentleman on the far right, Supply Chain Management for Broward College, and then 2 other deans of different departments at Broward College. We educate 30,000 students every year, and in every department you can imagine. We prepare people in 2-year degrees and education 4-year degrees, as well as other 4-year degree programs that we're doing now. But we're basically community college. So we met with 100 people for over 4 days. This is a little bit extra. And we basically upskilled them. So the idea is AI Institute that I did at Broward College goes across, and we train everybody at every community college across the United States, because they need to be prepared for people going back to school for 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, and 2-year upskilling programs. Learn how to use AI would be just a basic one. In fact, in 6 hours, I can teach you everything you need to know to then go out and learn everything you need to know to get your next job, to be upskilled. Chamber of Commerce is how we get business done. It's the small mom and pop floor shop. I met with people as small as a 2-person mom and pop floor shop and a plumbing company of about 30 employees, up to a hospital district that covered all of Broward County. They were in this meeting with us. I then have done separate meetings for hospitality. So every hotel in the South Florida area, I trained them and how they can, I showed them. In fact, you can see these all on my YouTube, Rick McCawley website. Take a look at the one I did for hospitality. I can do that for you too. And if you want to support this effort worldwide, I want the US government to put down the money to train every community college professor, have them go into city halls, meet with the chambers of commerce. And then once they've gone through this basic training and have the website set up so you could do passive training, that's what my whole reason for creating my website is to make this for real. And if the government's not going to do it, damn it, if I'm not going to just do it instead, because I'm one of the crazy ones. I'm a dangerous man. And I'm going to get this done. I'm going to change the world. And I'd love your help. So if anybody hears this, please reach out. I'm just looking for somebody else besides myself that wants to buy into this idea. And then I imagine we train at community colleges agents that go out and they actually install chatbots in your plumbing company. They go out. In fact, we did this with the plumbing company. They have someone who takes care of all the supply chain, the scheduling of all the employees, so that they have a 1 hour window where they're going to come fix your air conditioner instead of the 2 weeks that I waited because they didn't have the part on the truck and the guy didn't speak English that I talked to. They have an AI chatbot that's set up and does it for $150 a month. And that replaced 4 employees, all of which were related to the owner of the business. And he swore to me on the spot, because I told him, you can't use this to fire people. He gave them all new jobs. And now his aunt is actually, who was doing all of the call center stuff, has been replaced by a 24-hour system that she takes command over. And then she makes sure everything gets done, including talks to the people when they're sick and they have to, and then communicates with the agents to get these things done. So everybody goes through a process. So we will certify these AI agents in a community college wide across the United States, skills and performance thing. So they would be skilled enough to get a certification to install Microsoft Copilot in businesses across the country, educate the people there. So the community colleges are going to be the engine that creates the middle class once again. And that's humanity's final exam. Can we take what we've learned of what we haven't done? We've been an extraction economy far too long. We've been broken by social media that isolates us, a pandemic that almost destroyed a social fabric of everything that we do. We have a Gen Z stare because our humanity is evaporating because we don't meet in person as much as we do, and we should. So we need to sit down and gather in classes and learn about this and have a class and reconstruct what could be the greatest planet in the solar system, and then move on to populate other parts and imagine a world if we took the utopian ideals and we built ourselves to be of service, to think 7 generations planning in the future, use the power of artificial intelligence to do the most important thing we can ever do. At a time where we have a choice to take, it is time that we, the people, stand up, take ownership of the broken system and the history of brokenness that we've repeated again and again. Those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. And I hope that you will always all get together and take humanity's final exam. It's a test whether we go to the Garden of Eden with the assistance of a machine of loving grace, or we abdicate to a king that runs our country and the world and does not privilege us. Every business should be born with an edict. You exist to serve to the benefit of others. You add value to life. The people that work for you are your family. You take care of their children's children to make sure they go to college and get whatever education they need to be productive citizens. You have, as my dad did in his insurance company, 65 employees that he had parties for them. He paid for their kids' college funds. He paid for our college funds. He invested in the people that invested in him. They put their time and labor into making his company very fruitful and profitable. They were family. And then to every customer, you should never extract like Facebook does. We are not copper top batteries. We are human beings. And we need to stand up and act like it. Get into good trouble, necessary trouble, at a time where if we don't act, we will lose everything we have worked for centuries to get to. The knowledge that we stand on is humanity's final stand. It is the amalgamation of every person's thoughts that's been loaded into the large language model. It's training on us in order to improve what we do. But if it's owned by someone who's going to take from you, We must decapitate that idea from humanity's next step. So I ask you to audit where you are. Be a better version of yourself every day. Be of service to everybody in your community, starting with your family, the people closest to you. Extend them to include people like Brandon and his family. Make a trip to go see. I can't wait to see you, Brandon, man. Because it's like every time I talk to you, I feel like you're his brother. When I get on all the AI salon groups, these are people that think like I do, that they just want to make a difference. They just want to be happy. They want to go to their dying day leaving legacy, a beautiful legacy that we get to stand on. AI is humanity's owned property. Do not let it steal from us. Do not let corporations or individuals sell you on the idea we'll take care of you. Do not stand to be a self-domesticated ape. You are better than that. We are all better than that. Thank you. My name is Rick McCawley. I am born of service. My job is to leave the planet a better place than I found it. My planning is for 7 generations in the future. I may not be able to sit under the shade of the tree that my kids will, or my grandkids, 7 generations further. But I planted the seed correctly, and I watered it diligently. Every student in every class, I hope, is contagious, my passion for the world. And for the beautiful life I've been gifted, I have nothing left but to give it back for all to enjoy. So join with me and imagine a world. Yes, you can. You're not the only one. Where artificial intelligence, the amalgamation of all human knowledge, all goodwill, all thoughts, all ideas, is waiting for you to turn the next chapter in what will be the most amazing new world. We get to return back to the Garden of Eden on our terms. We need to separate ourselves from the 7 deadly sins, the real fruit of the tree of knowledge that should not be available to us, or our large language models. We need to find that greed and avarice and gluttony and taking is evil. We need to evolve past that, evolve past just being mediated at. Take ownership of the truth, fight for it, as if it's the last thing you'll ever do. Because while we have a brief moment as stardust on this planet, I want to be one of those who rises as the star you see before you on screen, to make it a more beautiful place at night as we put together the constellations and we imagine a world.